Okay guys, welcome back to today's video. So we are continuing our work on this Seadoo XP Limited. So on the last video, we ended up pulling the motor to get the broken piece of the starter out of there. Now it cranks after putting a new battery. Even after changing the starter, without a battery in it, it would just do the slow crank thing. So now we got a new starter, new battery. She cranks over fast, but I siphoned all the old fuel out of it. There's still a little bit in the bottom, but this selection here, normally it like limits here, like there's a stop limit on it, but for some reason this one you can turn 360 degrees, which I'm wondering what's going on. But so I don't know technically if the reserve function is even working. So what I did was I went and got some new premix. We got 5 gallons here, some AMSOIL interceptor. I already pre-mixed the fuel, so I'm gonna dump it in that 5 gallons and then see if it's just the fact that we have low fuel and you know, we're not hitting the reserve selection there or something like that, and see if we can get it to fire, because it did fire initially and then it stopped. Whoa. Yeah, buddy. So you have to trust me on that. There's no point in me cranking again until I get some fuel in it. So let me dump that in and then we'll see what we got. Okay, so 5 gallons is in. There's a little fuel filter here, and what I keep seeing is it's not fully purging. So, and again, we might have to verify this because maybe this thing isn't, it feels kind of funny, honestly. So that might be doing something funny, but let's see what we got. Oh, this actually fully filled up with fuel now, so that's a good sign. Maybe we'll get some action in a second here. Still no action yet, because I know I put fuel in the cylinder and it fired right up. We're getting spark. So either we gotta let this fuel purge through, or maybe whoever rebuilt these carbs didn't rebuild them properly. One or the other. Okay, so she runs. I have to finish sealing up the exhaust. I kind of just threw that V-band on there, and this thing is so loaded up with fuel. You guys saw all that stuff I was pumping out. So at least she starts and runs. I guess it was just a matter that we had really low fuel and nothing in the lines, but so I'm gonna have to fiddle with it, but at least she starts and turns off. Like I said, there's probably a bunch of air in the fuel lines, amongst the fact that there was a bunch of fuel loaded up in the cylinders. So at least she starts, stops. I do want to double check and verify this function, whatever's on here, but at least she seems to fire up. So we'll keep working on it. Okay, so I swear it's a different day. I usually wear the same shirt, but I have like 10 of these shirts from our sponsor, Whatever It Takes transmission and driveline parts, because these shirts are super breathable. So yes, it is a different day, even though I have the same outfit. I just wear one of these shirts almost every day. I went crazy this morning trying to figure out where this stupid line goes. So this line here, I saw the diagrams that it goes to the back and out the back, and I could see that at some point it was connected somewhere, but I couldn't, like, you guys can probably understand there's like no room back here. So you'll see down there's like hoses going all over the place. There's like a black hose right there. There's a few over there that go out the back of the boat, but I couldn't figure out, it's supposed to exit out the back, but I didn't know if something else was occupying the space or not. Finally, I was looking back here in the ports, and you'll see I stuck this screwdriver through this hole down there, which I wasn't sure, and then I shoved my hand way the hell in there, and I was able to feel the screwdriver come through on an empty nipple down there. So now I found where this hose is supposed to go, wherever it went. This one that somebody yanked off. There's probably like, I don't know, at least half a dozen hoses off the back of this, so it just gets a little bit confusing. But found out where it's got to go. It seems a little bit short though, like it doesn't quite reach. So I gotta figure out what's going on. I also have to answer the phone apparently, and let me get this hooked up. All right, so here's the line. I'm gonna go to the store and get 6 feet of it. This is only about 4.5. All right, so I'm back from AutoZone. I just went ahead and got some hose. So this hose looks a little more official than this thin stuff anyways. So I got some extra length. So let me go ahead. I'm gonna run it. Like I said, I'm gonna be buried up in this hole, so you guys probably won't be able to see me doing what I'm doing. Essentially, I'm just gonna be running a line from the bottom of there all the way out the back. So I gotta run it through, but now I can route it properly and I know where it goes, so let's make some progress. Okay, so I got that hose all routed in there. The other thing too is when I had my hands in here, I noticed this spark plug boot just completely just popped off right here. And this end was pretty much just clean off. So I ended up going to the store and I picked up one of these. So we got this little guy, same thing, NGK. So we'll screw this on to our wire again so that we have a proper spark plug cap. Oh, one other thing I want to show you guys is when I took the motor out, and I never would have found this if I didn't take the motor out, but I found a spring in the bottom. And initially I it's been a while since I've had these apart, but I had a hunch and I took off this cap. This one had a spring, this one had no spring, and so here's the missing spring. So put the spring back on the rave. I'll put that cap back on as well. Okay, so a quick little update for you guys. Everything in the back is buttoned up. I got the BTS cover back on, our battery strapped down officially, lines all connected, tightened up our pipe, got this spark plug boot on here. I haven't tightened the plugs because I've just been taking them in and out yet, so they're just finger tight. Only thing, and it's pretty much one of those situations, you guys, since this thing is like in such shambles, the only thing I haven't taken apart to verify is the carb rebuild. So almost leaning towards just picking up a carb rebuild kit and just taking them apart and just redoing them, because it starts, it runs, but it seems to idle excessively high. So at least we've got it running for now, but it's just a matter of tuning the thing. Like if I start it, it like seems to idle to the moon, like $4,000 when it should be like 2,700. So it runs, we're good to go there. I guess since we're kind of on a roll here, let's get the rear bumper on. Well, let's get these two side plastic pieces on just so it looks a little bit more complete. But I think we accomplished quite a bit in this video. I'm gonna have to keep spending some time on it a little bit. So like I said, probably they're gonna have to get in the water and see how she runs. It's a little bit hard to judge just out of the water. But probably have to get to the water, see if the carbs are gonna be okay for us, or if I'm gonna have to take the carbs apart and rebuild it. But it runs, the engine's good, it starts, so all that's good. It's just a matter of tuning. But let's put on those plastic pieces. I don't know if I showed you guys, but those side pieces, they did show up. So the ones I ordered from eBay, so these two yellow things that go on the side. So let's get all our plastics on here, at least get this thing looking right. All right, so before I get those plastic things on, the seat seems like excessively loose side to side in the rear. So you guys already know me, I gotta figure out what's going on underneath here. So there is a shock in the seat, so I'm gonna see like maybe what's going on in here. So there's one bolt, and then I'll take out the front. Let me see what's going on with the shock here and why this is that loose. All right, so seat's off. It's really just 3 bolts. So let's see what the heck is going on here. It was really just a big shock. Strange. It looks kind of greasy, so. Well, if there's any way to stiffen that up. It's kind of weird. Let me see if I can get this rubber boot out of my way so I can figure this out. Kind of wild. You guys have never had one of these apart, so it's literally just a shock that mounts right here, and the only movement is in this bushing. So only thing I can really do is crank this down a little tighter, maybe, just to get rid of some of this flex. But I mean, the base is tight, so tighten that up a bit, put it back on, and I guess we'll call it good at that. So I actually managed to get quite a few turns out of the bottom one, so it did stiffen up this quite a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw things back on as well. I guess there might be an access point. I wonder if we should investigate that. I'm sure this comes out. Ugh. Yeah, it's just our fuel pickup there. I was just wondering about investigating this. I don't know how it comes out. It's behind the computer there, just to see why this is rotating so many degrees here, just so we kind of have an idea what's on and off on this silly thing. All right, so kind of interesting. It's actually just the knob that's stripped out because this is corroded. So it does actually have the different selections, and I'm able to turn it from here into the different positions. So whether we want to turn it on or off or whatever. So I guess I just gotta work it and then maybe put the knob back on, and she might back in order, or just work it and get a new knob, and then we'll be all right for this. I already checked the fuel filter, so that's good. It's just this thing that was obviously seen better days from corrosion, but she's coming back alive. Let's go. Okay, so I just put on reserve. I usually like to run them over there if you're kind of just playing around the water, because it's the lowest pickup point in the tank. So I think it was on just regular. That's why it wouldn't start when we had low fuel, if you guys are watching the other video. So anyways, let's go ahead and throw the seat back on, get these pieces on, and go to the next step. Okay, so that was worth the effort, because now the seat is solid. You guys saw it shimmying before, back and forth. Only thing left, throw on our grab handle. Man, that seat is starting to look ugly. It's like a bruised banana. So probably have to clean this thing up a little bit, but let's get this rear grab handle on here. Woo-wee, she's almost starting to look like something, boys. So we only got one grip on here. Let's get this one off. A little trick. You can use air nozzle behind, just kind of blow it off. Told you. Just a little brake clean on there, that way it dries up. You could use soap, but then if we go back in the water, obviously the soap is gonna reactivate. Okay guys, so she's back together. She's looking pretty good. I'm gonna have to take apart the carburetors though, because this thing is like having runaway engine situations. So whatever way, I mean, based on the way the rest of the thing was put together, it was already in shambles. So I can only imagine the guy that rebuilt the carburetors probably didn't know what he was doing either. So I'm gonna have to take apart the carbs, double check those. Not a big deal, but we're gonna have to save that for another episode. Got a lot done. She's starting to look pretty good. It runs, obviously, starts, all that stuff. So we're pretty dang close. So in the next one, I'll probably try to dig into the carburetors, check that, since I've pretty much gone through the whole machine at this point. Might as well check the one last and really important part, and hopefully we'll be okay there. I did check the high and low speed screws on the outside of the carburetor when I had everything apart, but I just didn't want to be getting into, based on this guy saying that he dropped off the carburetors to a professional to get them done and he tried to put them back on, I just figured and assumed, maybe wrongfully so, that the carburetors would be put together properly, but it doesn't seem to be the case, because this thing is like trying to scream to the moon, so it's obviously getting a lot of fuel. So I'll have to see what the heck they did in there, and then we'll go from there. So if you guys are liking this content, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Quick little update, we did sell the Seadoo Speedster boat, so if you guys saw those episodes, we sold it. I got an offer I couldn't turn down on it, and we just got way too much on the go. So came out ahead on the boat, and I do have something that I haven't showed you yet, but I'll have to show you guys in another video. I was just trying to hopefully wrap up this one first before I showed you another project that I picked up, but looks like we're still stuck on this. And I also have to get back on this because a ton of parts showed up, including our Hellcat PCM for this. So we're almost ready to go as far as being able to swap this thing and have it running in short order. So lots of stuff on the way, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you guys on the next video.